Welcome to Arabia, and here we have Kalishnikov versus Uzzi, and that is Nicov. Alright, you notice the end of the Kalishnikov. It is Nicov. So we have Nicov here in the blue playing as the Incas up against Uzzi over here in the yellow playing as the Spanish. Now, if we think about these civilizations, this matchup, as we're going to do, we might see some unique things. The Incas for Nicov are not necessarily considered one of the top tier civilizations, but the Incas, what they're good at is countering everything. They have eagle warriors, which are a great counter to archers. They have good skirmishers, also counter to archers. They have slingers, which counter infantry. They have halberdiers and their unique unit, which are counters to cavalry. So a very good civilization at countering everything the opponent does. On the other side, obviously, they also have good arbalist, which is generic arbalist. Pretty good tech tree, just no cavalry for the Incas, and nothing special in the way of eco bonus. Sorry, words are hard. And we have on the other side Uzzi playing as the Spanish, and we know what the Spanish are all about. All about getting to the castle age, getting conquistadors out, getting a castle up. That's really all you're looking to do with the Spanish here. Good cavalry civ, unable to even make crossbow, so really stuck to the cavalry and the conquistador tech lines as well as monks. So it's what we're going to expect from these two players. See, 3 on wood for Nicov, so probably not a Dark Age play, as well as 3 on wood here for Uzzi, so probably not a Dark Age play here either. If we look at the maps, we got gold and berries that are not too bad for Nicov, or for Uzzi here. They're not the best, not the worst. Solid positions. For Nicov, the berries really about the worst place they could be on his map. Underneath this hill, kind of on this hill, near this woodland, awkward spot. And the gold, though, in a terrific spot. Gold about as good as it can be. Berries are really important early game. I take it back. We've got a pre-milled rush here from our... So... one thing the Incas do have going for them is these houses. Extra population, 10 pop per house, allowing the 3 on wood into the pre-milled rush for Nicov. So Nicov going aggressive. Love to see it. Surprising to see someone go so aggressive and push in the deer. I always thought you wanted to get the scouting in, but these players confident they can find each other and get damage in even while pushing in the scouts or the deer. Interesting. Now, no militia on the way just yet, but I don't know why else you would build a barracks so early if it's not for a pre-milled rush. Nicov still not making the militia. Ah, loom on the way, already on the way, prepping to go up to feudal age. 18 pop. It's going to be no mill men-at-arms. This is not something I've seen before. Alright, Nicov on the way up to the feudal age, but so is Uzzi, both of them at 19 pop, 18 villagers apiece, both headed up. And now, no barracks here, second lumber camp being added in by Uzzi. So definitely a different approach from these two players. Now, I would be interested to see Uzzi's response. He scouted out the barracks. I wouldn't be surprised to see him add small walls, even. Yeah, boom, look at that. Small walls added in as Uzzi sees this barracks and is like, wait a second, there's a barracks up already, and now the militia are out because it's men-at-arms, but it's a no-mill men-at-arms play. That's a new one for me. Never seen that before. That's why I cast. You learn more casting than you do playing. In some senses, you get to watch the pros all the time instead of making the same mistakes over and over. Love this. Uzzi walls his villager in and getting the barracks up. It's going to be on the late side, that's for sure, as these militia already almost there. Oh, that's bad, though. Nicov running his Eagle Scout in right underneath the town center of Uzzi and losing a lot of hit points on that guy. Not what you want to do when you're drushing. You like to have the full HP Scout when you are drushing. And here come men-at-arm play all the way in. Over here, we've got nothing coming out of here. Curious to see Uzzi's response. He's just gonna go scouts into men-at-arms. It's always awkward. It's always awkward because you don't love to fight men-at-arms with scouts. It's not like they don't counter each other. Neither unit counters the other. They just kind of fight each other. I think Uzzi is going to be losing a villager here. For sure. One villager down. Looks like that's all it's going to be. And the other two escape. Run around the other side of the lumber camp. We've got archers being added in already for our Nicov. Well, the archery range. And the mill is down. Eco looking nice and solid. Base completely open to scout play. So he's probably just going to try to defend and head forward and try to catch Nicov out. I would expect a play somewhere along those lines. Nicov trying to break through. 2 scouts, now the 3rd one, and now Uzzi heads forward, and that's something you want to do. Get 3 scouts. Don't just head across the map with 1. If you can head across with 3, you're a lot more effective than you are with 1. Now, if you look at that eco idle time, you got idle 20 seconds of idle TC time now for Uzzi and a villager down. So this has been pretty successful men-at-arms rush to this point, and I love it. Spear archer coming forward now. Big fight being taken. With the villagers involved, this fight goes massively in favor of Uzzi. This is just such a big investment on eco, and I would love to see walls being added. Boom! Man, these guys are on top of things. Walls already added in the scout rush. Can't find any damage now. And there is a spearman involved. Gets a scout down. Now, what do we have? We have... Okay. Pushed back, but that's a lot of worker efficiency. You see the worker efficiency here for Uzzi down to 60%, whereas it's at 82% for Nicov. Now the scouts head across. More spearmen probably being added. Not yet. The locksmith being added for Nicov as he needs upgrades. Would expect a spearman though. Yep. Spearman being added as well, but he's not really worried about these scouts. A few weak scouts aren't going to trouble him, although this tree, it's going to take a while, but it's going to get chopped through eventually. Nicov has gained a nice little advantage here up against Uzzi. Uzzi now finishing out the walls to some extent. Uzzi not doing so. Sorry, Nicov not doing so. Nicov! He realizes he's walled at home. Just heads across to the opponent's base. I love it. Another key thing to do. If you are protected at home, I would not have done this. These scouts would have scared me. But if you're protected at home, go to your opponent's base. Just simple as that. If you're protected, go to your opponent's base. Uzzi forced into skirmishers. Probably the plan all along. Kind of recognize that you're going to be making skirmishers when you go into scouts. Your opponent can just go spearmen, archers, and then really put the damage on you. So you're probably going to be scout skirm. It's really scout skirm versus spearman archer. That's kind of the 2 plays. The scouts piling up, looking at trying to take a fight here, probably along with the skirmishers and maybe the villagers as well. And it's going to be a good fight. Yep, good fight again for Uzzi. Takes that fight at the perfect time. Does get some more idle eco in though. And 1 scout down. It's going to actually end up losing just the one scout. And this archers all go away. So archers, eagle, scout. Okay, so it's going to be eagle, archer. Next on the plate, eagle, archer. There's a lot of farms down for Nicov. So his base, it's got to get expanded at some point. These compact bases are really awkward. He can't send his villagers to any of his resources. Here come the scouts and the skirmishers. But eagle play that the Mayans can do is really strong here. Because, look, the scout goes down, but this eagle wrecks the skirmishers. Normally, the archer spearman gets fully countered by just skirmishers. Not against a meso civ. The meso civs are really strong. Even getting armor in. So this is a pretty heavy feudal investment for Nicov. I really haven't got to see Nicov play. Myself. I haven't casted Nicov myself. And I'm really impressed by his reads of the situation. Really impressed by his play. Now I understand why all the casters, all the commentators are always, and the pro players, always expect him to do much better than he does in tournaments. Nicov is a guy who's known for not getting that deep into tournaments while still being considered a top player. I've always said, well, he's not the top player then. And I stand by that. But, my goodness, well, obviously he's a super top tier player. When I say not a top player, not a top 5. Let me be clear, not a top 5 player. Even though on the ladder he gets respect like that. I see it now. This guy's terrifying to face up against on the ladder. It's not making Uzzi look silly, but his reads are just really nice, using his civilization well, in my opinion. Now, the score has a different opinion. The score is telling me that Uzzi is way up, but we have 2 villager lead for Nicov. KD massively in favor of Uzzi, though. This is awkward. For sure awkward. Second barracks being added. The military production's not quite there for Nicov. But he is adding a wheelbarrow, adding forging, trying to get himself into a place where he can fight this back. And he hasn't taken any damage at his base yet. And that's what I love about this. He's taken no damage at his base. He's kept his opponent. He's kept Uzzi at his own base. Now that changes. How does he deal with the damage? That's the next thing to see. It's what separates the good from the greatest. Is how do they deal with damage? Doesn't get that down. I think with all this time, Nicov should have been walling. He's had so much time here. He should have been walling up. One villager down. So villager return favor. The eco KD now 1-1. And this fight pretty substantially in favor of the scouts. The scouts just have a lot of hit points. When there's not spearmen out, they are the premier feudal unit. See, this should be walled. There's no, and this should be walled. Ooh, this is all about to fall apart for Nicov. This is gonna look so bad here in just a second. Trying to get rid of the scouts. If you can get rid of the scouts, the skirmishers are not a threat. Together they are. Okay, mark it down, and now he's walling up. He hasn't noticed this is wide open into his wood line. All over the place. And Nicov definitely struggling here. Sorry, I went silent there for a bit. I know. Just things. Nicov has lost the villager lead, but is on the way to Castle Age. Ahead by about a minute on the way to Castle Age. And the Inca Eagle play is probably going to be... It's going to be interesting. We see our Spanish player getting to Castle Age safely, and that's what you don't want to see. So Uzzi seems to have weathered this storm pretty well. I've been really impressed with Nicov, as I already said, but now I'm not sure where he goes from here. I feel like, okay, yeah, it should be crossbowman, I think, and it is. Switching into crossbowman. Crossbow skirmisher play here against the conquistadors, and walls wouldn't be a bad thing. Walls don't necessarily stop the skirmish, the conquistadors, and weirdly enough, I think towers with Incas wouldn't be the dumbest thing either. Like a tower here, he's got his base in such a small area. A tower here and a tower here would protect so much of his base from the conquistadors, because if the conquistadors come by, you just garrison your villagers and shoot the conquistadors down. Now we have eagles and archers all over Uzzi's base, but Uzzi walling like a madman. Look at this stream. 13-0 on the military. Uzzi's looking at the castle, trying to get a castle drop, but can he survive until then? Nicov is looking to end the game now. He's gonna break in here. He's got 8 Eagle Scouts, 6 crossbowmen, but 2 archery ranges producing them, 2 barracks to produce Eagle Scouts if he can afford them. But the castle's coming down. The castle's not going to be denied. The second layer of walls is up, so the conquistadors are going to come out. How strong are they? That is the question. You can see the ecos are still 2 in favor of Uzzi here. Even after all this, 2 in favor of Uzzi, but wheelbarrows in for Nicov and not for Uzzi. So I'd say that's about a 1 vil lead for Nicov. Nicov expanding out to the stone mine, looking at some sort of defense, and a town center here on this gold mine. Yes, of course, this town center does more protection than a tower, but I just like the tower. I like this town center. I would love to see a tower here. That's my point. Add in what you can't protect with the town centers, add in with the towers. Because specifically, Inca towers are cheap. Alright, that's why. Cheaper. They're not cheap, but like 10% cheaper. So it makes a little bit more sense to add them in and get guard tower and just lock your base down. Make his conquistador play just pointless. He spends all these resources on conquistadors and you're just sitting there laughing at him. You can't do anything about it. Conquistadors are fast. They can't get any effect in when they're not doing anything. Nicov needs to notice and walk in here. But likewise, Uzzi needs to notice this and do something about it. I think Uzzi's going to notice before Nicov. Nicov could be getting a lot of damage in here, but he hasn't noticed yet. Uzzi coming out here with... That's not enough Conquistadors. Is it 7 versus 2? I don't think that's enough. Although this Eagle Scout is going to go down. It's a fairly close fight, I guess, but the crossbows do take that one, it seems like, for now. And the pressure is very heavy. There are the 2 town centers and a castle for Uzzi. So Uzzi is definitely... And ballistics coming in, massively important when you're up against Conquistadors. And I love it. He's taking them off wood. Trying to cut off reinforcements is Uzzi. But Uzzi still up 1 villager, because Nicov hasn't made the TCs work quite yet. These lines are deceptive, because these arrows just go on shooting. They target people in this range, but they hit you all the way out here. You see that? This army's gonna die. This army's not that big either. But Nicov with full control inside of Uzzi's base. Uzzi 42% worker efficiency versus the 78, and now the eco's actually in favor of Nicov. The 3 TC's starting to pay off, although his food eco is looking a little, not good. 15 farms, he needs more than that. 15 on food, he needs more than that to keep production from his 3 town centers, much less add anything else. So, Uzzi has now cleaned up the armies at his base. Uzzi heading across the map, but the militaries are 20 to 8. So, definitely a military lead still for Nicov, an eco lead, and the position pretty similar. They're both wandering around the map at the moment, so pretty similar between the 2 there. And ballistics is in, and that makes a big difference. Bloodline's just now coming in for these Conquistadors. That's massive. They just went from 55 to 75 hit points. Bloodlines is a research that's balanced around knights. I feel like knights and light cav, and makes the balance awkward for all your cavalry archer units, because before it they're pretty weak, and after it they're kind of tanky. 75 HP on those bad boys, and only 35 on these guys. So, not that they're Conquistadors are good. Not that they're broken. They're not. They're in a good place, but they're strong. And GG. Wow, he just calls it. Just calls it. G to the G. Let's check the statistics. And I think, I'm trying to think how this game went down. I think it was that early control that... I think Nicov made some mistakes by not walling up. Right, he had plenty of time to do so, and I don't think he needed to make it as stressful as he did. But I think that early control that just crippled Uzzi's eco, because he was always hopping in and out, fighting with villagers, stuff like that. I think that's the story of this game. The KD massively in favor of Uzzi, but it's just the eco just couldn't deal with the eco, and the military there at the end too big for Nicov. Resources, there you go, 3,000 more resources collected for Nicov than Uzzi. Technology, you can see slight better timings, really very similar. A minute and a half different here was massive. That allowed him to get such big pressure. That castle timing actually is what did it, but the reason the castle timing was like it was had to do with that dark age or that early feudal pressure. See if we can get a graph on okay, I don't know, on resources collected. I don't know if we have that graph. Society stats, you can see at the end. There's the difference, 10 villagers, an Apium. Let's see how fast these guys are. A 69 for Nicov and 57 for Uzzi. Well, I hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, consider liking the video. If you want to see some more, subscribe. If not, that's alright. We'll catch you in the next one. See ya.